Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project on New Year's. Sunday, December 31st, 11:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 2017, for the last time this year, bringing you a grand solar minimum forecast, which you're looking at. The star is where we currently are, and we are going into a descent into cold, uncharted territories. Here is the glacial pattern coming from the Arctic, the polar vortex dipping down all the way. These purple areas are minus 20 or colder. It's not warm in the Arctic, regardless of what they say. 2018 starts with record colds in part of the Midwest. Here you can see Lake Superior freezing up as we speak. Steam rises from Lake Superior as the ship St. Clair comes to harbor during the coldest temps of the year. Des Moines, Iowa, bone-chilling cold gripped the middle of the U.S. in 2018. Here, the Weather Service said Omaha temperature low of 15 below zero before midnight broke the record that had stood since 1884. And that's a boom. Happy New Year. And that's a boom stick. Chicago could see record cold on New Year's Day. That's the Windy City. Every New Year's Day has a special feel to it. But 2018 dawns, the Chicago area could see history made. According to the National Weather Service, the lowest recorded high temperature on New Year's Day was 5 degrees below zero in 1969. And they're forecast to get about that temperature. Record cold will start 2018. We know that, with snowstorms possible. This is you, Maine. The bitter cold pattern is in place, showing no signs of letting up for Maine. New Year's Day will be the coldest in a century. The cold records are expected to fall. Portland's January 1st record low of minus 12, set in 1957 and 64, is in jeopardy. The record cold of 13 degrees, set in 57, should easily be broken. Arctic air will remain in place through Tuesday, and I ran through the GFS models. This low pressure could bring a snowstorm from Florida to Maine, all the way up the coast, and that is a boom. We'll be watching it at the end of the video. We'll run through the entire model. That's a heads up. You'll get links to everything. Bitter cold to start 2018. Where do you think this is? Texas. This is coming from the Dallas News, and those are the temperatures on Monday. Winter mix has ended in Texas. Some of our subscribers sent me pictures this morning. They had snow or sleet or hail this morning. They have freeze damage to their cabbage and kale. Crop loss much. The winter mix has ended and no additional precipitation is expected. However, it would be bitter cold as we bring in the new year. Tonight, partly cloudy, winter and bitterly cold, wind chills near zero. This is Dallas, Texas. Monday, New Year's, cold with a mix of sun. Wind chills between 0 and 10. High at 29. Look how happy he is. Little smarmy prick. Ravens-Bengals season finale is coldest home game in Ravens history. Coldest home game in history. Global warming not. The temperature at kickoff is 19. Now, this is breaking a record that goes back not that far. In fact, in the previous 2000 wildcard game, 22 degrees at kickoff. So this is 3 degrees colder. More evidence of no global warming, huh? Record snowfall in Billings on Friday. It was a record day for snow in Billings on Friday, with 8.9 inches, breaking the mark set for December 29th in 2010. The National Weather Service started measuring snows at Billings since 1934. Records in Billings, Montana. Muskegon snowfall records set with 19.9 inches in 2 days. Guys, that's almost 20 inches, if you didn't know. That's just almost there. Look at that. Almost 20. Boom. And that's a boom. Happy New Year. Boom. More snow in the forecast for Erie. They're already in 6 feet of it. They don't need more. Erie is creeping closer to record for the snowiest season ever. Guys, winter just started. And that's a boomstick. Environment Canada issues extreme cold warning for all of Alberta. Temperatures forecast to reach minus 44 C, with the wind chill in Calgary and minus 45 C in Edmonton. Boom. Happy New Year, Canada. Guys, 20 years ago, Montreal experienced a major ice storm. 20 years after the ice storm, with more extreme weather expected, are they ready? And that is bent infrastructure there. And that looks like a solar minimum sun there. Starting January 5th, 1998, freezing rain damaged or felled 1,000 steel pylons and 24,000 utility poles, leaving more than 1 million Quebecers without power for more than a month. A rare confluence of circumstances called the Grand Solar Minimum may repeat this. And it's required for freezing rain to develop. The bad news, Montreal is one of the most freezing rain prone regions in North America. The worst news, climate change, the Grand Solar Minimum may make ice storms more frequent and drawn out. Heads up, Montreal, Quebec, infrastructure failure. Sumatra coffee harvest falls, but it also fails by half amid climate change fears. The coffee didn't get scared to death. It got damaged by weather. It's a weird headline. Coffee farmers in Sumatra are having to find ways to cope with the increasingly unpredictable weather caused by the Grand Solar Minimum, which is hitting their harvest and destroying it by half. And that's coffee. Oh. Learn about chicory, guys. It grows all over. 10,000 without power after heavy rain. Large hail hit southeast Queensland. This is because we're in geomagnetic storm. There might have been a little bit of charging here. It could be because of the cosmic ray flux. We were at KP0. Either way, it's space weather. More than 10,000 Energex customers are without power. Look at this pointy hail. New Year's Eve hail at Carpendale, 25 kilometers east of Toowoomba, where they just had hail this size, a cricket ball size hail, a few days ago. This hailstone, 4 centimeters in size. 4 centimeters? That shit is 10 centimeters. That is crazy. And that they're totally fluxed down there in Queensland. And that's a boom. It won't even let me boom. Let's talk about the space weather. This northern coronal hole, I'll give you a close-up here. At least we'll do something while we're waiting around. This is the northern coronal hole. And it is here. I'm at spaceweathernews.com. You can see the solar minimum sun is completely flat in low A range. You can see the phi angle shifted over the last 10 hours or 12 hours. The density is perturbed, but the speed has gone up. And that's caused us to go into... Let's get an update here. I'll click the big one. We're almost in geomagnetic storm, and I imagine this to go up to KP5 and to pulse up and down for the next 12 hours. That may affect some snow and hail events for New Year's Day. For the whole day, we may be in geomagnetic storm, in and out, 5 and 6 range. We'll have to watch it. Stay tuned for updates. If anything happens, you'll get it live here. Trust me. We can come here and check the electron flux as well, and the magnetometer are both off. Okay? So currently we're in a radiation storm levels for the last 4 or 5 hours. And the magnetogram is going a little screwy, which means we'll probably be going into geomagnetic storm in the next 3 hours. Global mini ice age lasting 30 years to cause devastating famine on a mass scale. This is coming out today. A dramatic cool down in global temperatures lasting at least 3 decades, maybe 3,000 years, could lead to a catastrophic food shortage across the world, a researcher has warned. So you better start prepping. This is a little better message. A bombshell study from a team of scientists led by Valentina Zarkova at Northumbria University suggests Earth will enter a cooling phase within the next few years. Now that is a heads up. That is the kind of headline I need to see. And I approve of this message. Zarkova and her team came to their alarming conclusions, producing a mathematical model of the sun's magnetic fields. And hence the Eddy minimum Zarkova forecast. You're at the star, and it is only going to get worse. And it's going to get really bad at the 2025 region and stay bad for decades. It's going to be nothing like the Maunder minimum. There's so many people on Earth. It's going to be unprecedented. We have an uptick in seismicity on the west coast, especially on the San Andreas. Many of you observers have been following this, I'm sure. And we have several quakes popping off here in the mid-3 range along the Cascadian Transverse here, and several other quakes that I'm sure were felt along the San Andreas itself in the 3 range, low 3 range. Now, if you understand the mechanisms and motives of the group mind, it's now possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without them knowing it. That's just what's happening right now. If you're wondering why there's so much misinformation out there, the elites have been doing this for a long time. And their sense of entitlement gives them the right. Once they're in charge, they can do whatever they want because they have the power. I assure you, though, the power is in the hands of the meek, who shall inherit the earth. And that is a boomstick. Let's run through the model, which has been slowing us down all night. And we can chat. And you can just watch the polar vortex stay locked. And I want you to keep an eye on Florida as this freeze line, which is the green-blue line, penetrates down here. Take special note to Wednesday. Guys, starting in just 15 minutes, Cold Times by Anita Bailey is free. The Kindle version. You better do it. You got 24 hours to download the free version. It's the corrected version that has Oppenheimer Ranch Project in it. Heads up. So I hope you guys got something out of the video. This new year is going to bring wonderful messages of self-sufficiency and abundance in the coming times. Because proper planning prevents piss-poor performance during a glacial maximum, which we're entering. This glacial advance is going to begin in the next few decades and continue for thousands of years. It's just the nature of the Milankovitch cycle. And we're going to be documenting it for the first time in history in great detail so that the future of humanity can learn for the first time ever from our mistakes. We're not going to let dogma get in the way or the propaganda. Because we see, these eyes realize real lies. And we see through the nonsense. Now, the biggest enemy of a corrupt system is an informed public, which is why we have this channel. The more you know, and the less that they know you know, the better off you are. And that's a heads up. And Happy New Year. Be safe, everybody. It's going to be cold out there in Florida. Brrr.